Merdeka, Wirausaha Merdeka. Actually, this opportunity is granted to the not on only 12 university in Indonesia, around Indonesia. Around Indonesia, they make proposal, but accepted proposal only 12 university, including BPNS. And this program under control of BPNS, we handle 1,067 students in this program. In this program, Wirausaha Merdeka. So and also participate in this program under PPNS around 30 university. 30 university join together, become a member. But the manager of this program is from PPNS. From PPNS. Also, this program 2 of 12 participate here now. 2 of 12 participate here to university, Polytechnic Jember and also Polytechnic Kupang. So in this meeting, 3 polytechnic join together to what mean to hear, to listen from your special what means speech from you. Actually, the government want that every student not only have spirit for to shake the job from industry, but government want every student they create the job, not only become a job shaker, but they have to make a job. This is our spirit on this program. So today, this workshop, we are very hope from you. You can share your experience, how to handle, to initiate entrepreneurship, and how to develop, to enhance from the zero to become hero. This one, this is our spirit. From startup until international enterprise. How? Maybe I think it's very, very good chance for us to hear for your experience, especially in Australia and maybe another places in around the world. So we want your experience to share to us. Thank you for this piece. With respect to all of attendance, so we open this program in this morning, this workshop, with reciting Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, by the name of Allah, the most gracious and merciful. This one, thank you for all, and special honorable to research person Michelle Holt, the managing director of TAFE West Australia. Thank you. Also, this special information that's Robert is also my student, also my kids. My kids. So I miss so long time. Thank you. You handle my kids and your university. Thank you so much for Michelle Hood. The last, if there is some maybe weakness from me, I am please apologize to me because my shortcoming. Thank you for all. Terima kasih untuk semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih atas sambutannya untuk Bapak Anies. Selanjutnya, sambutan yang kedua akan disampaikan oleh Bapak Denis Maulana selaku Ketua Pelaksana Wirausaha Merdeka 2022 Politeknik Perkapalan Negeri Surabaya. And the remarks by the head of the Project-Based Learning Technopreneurship of an Independent Entrepreneur Program, Mr. Denis Maulana. The time is yours. Excuse me, Mr. Dennis, your voice is not open yet.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Michelle Hood and Mr. Anis Mutafir as Vice President, Vice Director at PPNS. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for attending our workshop today, Mrs. Michelle Hood. This is our student around Indonesia in here, join in here. Please apologize. Maybe some student join via YouTube because another connection because maybe in Indonesian they have a low bandwidth, so we make it streaming in YouTube so they can catch up from the YouTube. Okay, maybe in the for the today this Saturday for this brilliant and workshop because this is the feedback from our student. They make we'll learn about leadership in here. So I contact to Mr. Robert in Australian the tafe, maybe a very insightful speech. So thank you very thank you. And this is from me and it from so we have a many time discussion between you and our student. Thank you, Mrs. Holt. Have a nice day. And today we have a great opportunity to hear your speech and discussion in the Q&A session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Baik, terima kasih untuk sambutannya Bapak Danis. Baik, melangkah pada acara selanjutnya, yakni acara yang paling kita nantikan, yaitu pemaparan materi yang akan disampaikan oleh narasumber kita yang luar biasa, yaitu Ibu Michelle Hood, Direktur North Metropolitan TAFE Australia. Namun sebelum itu, saya sampaikan kepada hadirin sekalian bahwa untuk beberapa waktu ke depan, pengarahan diskusi serta pemaparan materi akan disampaikan dalam menggunakan bahasa Inggris dan sedikit menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Untuk itu, dimohon kepada seluruh peserta agar dapat menyimak dengan sesama pemaparan materi dari narasumber kita. Alright, it is time to go to our main agenda. In this main agenda, we are glad to welcome Ms. Michelle Hood as our special international presenter who will present such a great topic of leadership development. Ms. Michelle is the Managing Director of North Metropolitan TAFE Western Australia, the established state government provider of vocational education and training for the Northern Perth region. She has a lot of experience in various disciplines such as organizational development, project management, training and coaching, public speaking, personal development, including leadership development. She has also experience in being the Assistant Manager Campus Services or Quality Coordinator at Murdoch University, Western Australia, the Director of Training Services at Central West College of TAFE, Western Australia, the Director of VE Teaching and Learning in the Department of Education and Training, Western Australia, the General Manager Education and Training at Polytechnic West, Western Australia, and last, the Managing Director at North Metropolitan TAFE, Western Australia, from 2016 to present day, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. For Mrs. Michelle, I would briefly explain about the overview about this program. As the Vice Director of SHIPS state before, this program is a new program and also one of the part of the government program of independent learning, independent campus, which is a program to develop an education system that aligns graduate capacity with industrial needs. This program is authorized by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of Indonesia, in which 17 universities and colleges around Indonesia were selected to undertake this program, including Shipbuilding Institute of Polytechnic Surabaya or Polytechnic Perkapalan Negeri Surabaya. Through this program, we focus on creating young entrepreneurs among university or college students to contribute to further the nation's economy. And now I wanted to welcome and say hi to our special guest today. Good morning, Ms. Michelle. How are you today? All right.
Well, thank you.
All right. It is such an honor to have you as our presenter in an international collaboration for this national event of Independent Entrepreneur Program for college students of Indonesia. Are you excited to share some great insight to our young entrepreneur today?
Very. Thank you so much for the invitation.
All of the participants are already coming here. There are like 100 participants here. Wow, amazing. All right. Seems like all of our participants here are excited to listen to your excellent presentation about leadership management. Without any further ado, we will turn the time over to our honorable presenter, to Ms. Michelle Hode. The time is yours.
Terima kasih. Thank you. And can I say it is very much an honour to be invited to present to your independent entrepreneurship group. And I'd like to congratulate the Indonesian government for actually supporting and initiating this program. It sounds fantastic. And also to congratulate the 3 polytechnics who have been selected to be part of this program. Great opportunity for all of your students. And I'd also like to thank the warm welcome and the kind opening remarks from the executive leaders of this program, and for your gracious hosting as well. Before I start, many of you would know that in Australia it's customary to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet. So for me here in Perth, I'd like to acknowledge the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation and acknowledge 60,000 years of culture from which we continue to learn. And I also like to acknowledge that what's special about that is Australians' first horticulturalists, scientists, navigators, builders, and passing on skills through generations and innovating. And that's what we share at TAFE now. And that's also what we share across the 3 polytechnics and North Metropolitan TAFE that are all the participants that are here today. So, big topic, leadership and entrepreneurialism and leadership development. I guess you did a bit of an introduction, and thank you, but just to explain again some context of North Metropolitan TAFE, we have around 34,000 students across 70 industry areas. We liaise with the heads of industry as well as the small manufacturers and suppliers of services and goods to government and all of the industry clusters to support the economic development in Western Australia. And I think that one of the opening comments was about the importance of graduates not just to get a job, but to create a job. That was a great opening statement. Thank you for that. And that's so true. Governments are looking for graduates to work in industry to allow economic development, but also to start their own businesses. So this is an exciting topic at the moment. I'd also like to mention that we have 1,600 or so staff at North Metropolitan TAFE. So I'm very conscious and passionate about leadership skills for our students going out into the world, but also I'm a leader. I have 1,600 people that I need to work with, support, inspire, and direct every day. And together, 1,600 people in my organisation, we need to meet our government's economic development goals. We need to help our industry be more prosperous, be more productive, and to scale up to meet the demands of our economy. And we need to support our students to reach their aspirations of their careers, to create businesses, and to be prosperous in their business lives. So leadership and entrepreneurialism applies to me as a leader, but also all those different categories of people that at TAFE and at Polytechnic that we all work with. So it's fabulous, though, to have our students here today and look at it from your perspective. So I'll talk a little bit about, I guess, entrepreneurialism and leadership. And to me, you know, there's some key elements about leadership for prosperity. And I'm going to just say that I'm going to talk about culture, leadership culture, and also about structure. because governance and structure sits behind and supports your vision and your culture that you create as a leader. And that applies to small startups as they scale up and get bigger, from hero to zero. No, sorry, zero to hero, as was said earlier, beautifully, but also large organisations. So I'd just like to, I'm sure that you've explored different interpretations and definitions of entrepreneurialism and leadership, but I'd just like to mention one, a definition of entrepreneurialism that I think helps set the scene for some of the aspects of leadership development that I would like to talk about. And this is a definition that I read from Dr. John Warner, who happens to be an organisational psychologist, which is my background. So that's one of the reasons, of course, his definition resonates with me. So he reminds us that it's actually a French word, and I'm just going to read it out. It means one who undertakes innovations, finance and business acumen in an effort to transform innovations into economic goods for the reward of profit. So I think that the current environment is ideally suited to our graduates coming out to have a more entrepreneurial approach and to take advantage of the opportunities of some of the current environment in which we're all working, and some of what we call the global megatrends that are happening in industry and in our community. So in Australia, we've got CSIRO, who are the Commonwealth Scientific Industry Research Organisation. And they, in addition to being our main research body for government, they also keep an eye on the global megatrends that are affecting Australian economy and businesses and industry. So they recently released a report that talked about some of these global megatrends. And these are trends that all industry and businesses, I think, are aware of. And I think the general population and our public are very interested, and our students in this as well. So adapting to climate, sustainability, renewable energy, net zero, these kind of matters that are gaining importance are creating opportunities for businesses to do things differently and for new businesses to help supply services that will transform and adapt, assist big businesses to adapt to climate change and renewable approaches, but they're also opportunities for small businesses. So this is creating a climate for entrepreneurialism of our graduates. Leaner, cleaner, greener. We talk in Australia about green skills, which is another sort of interesting approach where more and more businesses and industry opportunities are starting up, which is about how we manufacture by creating less waste, what we're doing in terms of the products that we're using and developing, using more digitisation and things like that. The health imperative. So it's in the health field, but all organisations are looking at how they're managing the health of their workers, and there's opportunities there. The digital revolution. And this is an important thing that I'll come back to for entrepreneurialism, because in going out and creating new businesses, the digital revolution that we're all seeing is an equaliser. It allows young people starting up. Once upon a time, only big businesses could afford to create websites, to create e-commerce opportunity for their business, to be able to do their financial transactions online, to be able to connect to their markets. But now the digital environment is one where a lot of these opportunities are available for free. We've got LinkedIn to connect to our professionals and our market and key people that might influence the businesses that we have. We can create our own websites. We can set up with our iPad and our little devices the ability to transact with customers. So these global mega trends are creating great opportunities for our young entrepreneurs. And they're equalising with what might have only been possible for big businesses before. But for big businesses, there's a leadership opportunity as well to be innovative and more agile. Increasingly autonomous is another big trend that's happening. With robotics and remote operations in Australia in our resources and mining sector, that's happening a lot. And unlocking the human dimension. So back to leadership. I guess leadership is the fun part of all of our jobs, whether you're a startup or a big organisation. And I guess you're all talking about leadership. Leaders need to be creative. They need to have a vision for how in this global market and how in the country market and where you are, what are the niches? What are the opportunities? And leaders creatively identify those niches and they have a vision. They have a vision and a set of values about how they're going to tap into those. And it's really important as you include other human resources, other staff, that you actually are clear about your vision and that you're creating that common goal and that common set of values, and actually so that you can work towards achieving the outcomes and finding the product that you really need. So just talking about the opportunities, I guess, we've all experienced with the pandemic supply chain disruption. Governments like Indonesian government and Australian government are very interested in supporting and managing the supply chain to ensure the economy can continue. So this supply chain disruption is another opportunity for our entrepreneurial young people to create businesses that can grow, because having local supply enables businesses to not have to wait for products to be arriving from elsewhere. So that vision, I think, is one that graduates can actually be working within their own organisation to be entrepreneurial, but also be creating organisations that can work into the supply chain where they see opportunity. First step of leadership: vision, product, understanding where the niche is. Then being able to actually collaborate with others and to have the ability to take risks, to identify their markets, to use LinkedIn and other tools to create connections, to research and analyse who the best people and organisations would be that are the procurers of that market. So who wants to buy your product? But obviously being able to be reliable in the supply of the product or the service that you as an entrepreneur are delivering. And that might mean within an organisation, what role you play in supporting a service or making a product. And your leadership is expected at all levels. I expect all my staff at all levels to be entrepreneurial, innovative, and to deliver great services or create great products. And I think that that's a key part of leadership. I think that one of the new forms of leadership that's so interesting is once upon a time, leadership was perhaps very authoritative. Typically a board or the senior executives, would make all of the decisions and tell them to staff, even in small organisations. I think what we're now seeing is a shift to more collaborative leadership, more agile and transformational organisations, because the rate of change in industry and technology is so strong now. Leaders need to be agile, but they need their people to be agile. So how do we inspire that agility in others? One of the ways that we need to do that is by engaging more with our staff and collaborating more with others. That might be other partners if you have a business, or that might mean creating product. Co-design is a new word that's used at the moment. Co-designing your product with your partners that are buying that product. So really designing product that suits the industry it's serving, or even just with teams. So part of my role as a leader is to ensure that I am having sessions with my staff where we get together and we look at the horizon of the trends that are happening, what our students are expecting to see, what big mining companies like Rio Tinto and BHP are expecting to see. And we get together with them and with our people, and we change the design of our products. We hear what's working and what's not working. And so a big part of leadership now is about collaborative leadership. It's about changing your approach or innovating with your product or introducing new products, because you have your ear to the market and you have your ear to your staff who give you amazing advice about what their experiences are and how they're going. So broadly, leadership, you need to set values, vision, you need to be creative, work collaboratively with your staff, you need to be visible. New technology and digitisation is also a great way of doing this, as we are now. I've got staff all over the North Metropolitan area of Perth City, but they all need to see and hear from me from time to time, because how do you as a leader ensure that 1,600 people are working with you on the priorities of the organisation and of government and to serve economic development? So one of the ways is by engaging and making sure that people are hearing the message, and empowering people to be able to deliver services that are shifting with the needs that are being identified by industry, by BHP and Rio, by our hospitals, by our defence industries, by whatever industry you're in. What skills are they needing? Do they need more nurses? Do they need more welders? Do they need more project managers? Do they need new skills? We're talking about hydrogen now. We're talking about wind and solar energy in Perth a lot. So as these new and emerging markets develop, we have to make sure our graduates are understanding these new skills, but also being able to respond to a market opportunity with a new business and get into the supply chain to be able to deliver that new business services to industry. So I've talked at the beginning about culture for leadership and structure. So I've talked a little bit about culture, vision, values, collaborating with staff, creating a culture in which people feel that they have a voice to you, that you're listening to the information that they can bring from the job that they do in your organisation and the people they work with, and being agile and creative. But what's the structure part? That's equally important. You need to be inspiring everyone to work passionately with our industry and our students to achieve their aspirations and to learn the skills that will make their businesses work or make them employable in large organisations, whether that's hospitals, businesses, or mining companies, or the creative industries, or shipbuilding. But there's structure. As a leader, what governance do you put in place? What policies do you put in place? What does your organisational structure look like? How do you design your jobs? What human resources do you need, as well as financial resources do you need to be able to create your product or service? How do you ensure that they're productive? Motivating staff is a big part of leadership. That's about the culture, the vision, being visible, engaging with your staff, listening to them, creating good conditions for them to work in. And sometimes that means not the environment or not the tools that they work with or the computers or the pay, although those things are important. It's also about people feeling rewarded in their jobs and that they're working towards a vision or something that's important. You know, they're building a ship, or they're supplying a service, or they are working autonomous operations in a mine site. They are managing a building project. So all of those things require that understanding of a structure. You've got the culture to motivate people, but you've got the structure that sits behind it. What designers do you need in your organisation? How are you going to market to your clients? Designing all of the different roles and being clear with people what role they have and hearing from them about how to do it, as well as keeping your eye to the future and to the horizon about new ways of doing things. Once upon a time, we would have put an advertisement in a newspaper or on television. Now we use social media, and social media, once again, digital revolution. It's very accessible. You no longer have to be a big business to afford to be able to put your market and product out there. So organisational structure, but a vision for the future. Procedures, because if you've got 1,600 people, how do you ensure that you have appropriate governance and accountability for all of those people? By defining their jobs and by setting procedures and guidelines. So the most important job for a leader is not only to set a vision, but to actually set policy. To set policy, but collaboratively with people, but to set policy that says, you know, in our tafe or in our business that builds ships or in our business that does surveying for the mining sector or in our hospital, that this is a procedure and this is a policy and this is how we ensure that people that I wouldn't see every day or the head of the hospital wouldn't see or the head of the shipbuilding company wouldn't see, but the procedure is how we manage the behaviours and actions and allocation of resources to get our product or our service. So I'm not there to ask if someone wants to know how they deliver a service. They can see it on a policy. So actually, policy development, students, sounds boring, but policy and procedure is actually how you get 1,600 people to actually deliver a service the way that if in my case I work as part of government to deliver the outcomes that government wants and also the outcomes that my organisation's core business is about. But it applies to any business. So don't underestimate the importance of the policy and procedure and governance side of your organisation. You might have a board. Big companies usually have a board. Often government agencies have a senior executive board, and small businesses can have a board of directors as well. They may not be formal, they may be informal, but they might be key people from the industry that you're in who can help you steer your business and, once again, set some strategic vision and look at the horizon about the trends that are happening and what sorts of opportunities there are for your business to ensure that your product continues to be relevant and that people want to buy it or use it and to bring new clients to you, or to make you more productive in the work you do, which leads then to profit. So I guess another key part, if this is particularly the case when you're in a large organisation as a leader, and that's the decision-making processes in your organisation. Because today's world moves so fast, you need to balance fast decision-making to be agile and responsive to industry, which is easier when you're small but can still be challenging. But you want people to make decisions that fit your strategic direction as an organisation and your vision for your product and your market. So you want people to be able to do that, but in keeping with your vision. So how do you create a clear decision-making structure? Once again, that structure behind leadership. So that comes back to your policies and procedures, outlining certain things. We have typically a delegation structure, which will say, you know, at mid-level, you can make a policy decision that might be up to the value, if it's about finances, $20,000, but then it might be $50,000 higher up or $100,000. So you can provide structure around what the value and authority of different people in your organisation is to make decisions. But that's important that that's clear, because that's about governance and accountability and managing your risk as a leader. You might want to have some committees, because that's also a way of ensuring that you have that collaboration, which is such an important new part of leadership. Collaboration with staff, collaboration with your industry partners, collaboration with your clients, collaboration with your team that you work with, because collaboration is how you can all work together to be more productive, but to innovate your product and make it continuing to be relevant and profitable. So consultation is a key part. So in terms of the culture and the structure, the culture is about that, the vision, the creativity, the innovation, the visibility of a leader, your values, supporting your staff, knowing what the organisation's core business is, and creating a great environment for people to do their best work and feeling valued in their work, whether that's a small organisation or a large organisation. And even the culture, if you're a small startup, the businesses that you're trying to get to buy your product see your culture in the way you address them. So that's the culture side. The structure side is about the governance, the policy, the procedure, the decision-making processes, and supported by your infrastructure, which, if you're small, as I said, we've now got so much opportunity with readily available product at low price and different software systems, platforms, LinkedIn and others. So I think that it is a great time, really, to be a leader in a world that's really innovative and that new things are happening, to be a startup where organisations are very keen on, there used to be perhaps a monopoly on supply chains. It was very hard to break into them, but now we're seeing more and more opportunity for young organisations to actually be able to supply their product into the supply chains and to be innovative, to show leadership and to engage with people. So, marketing their product, finding their clients and being able to get into the supply chain. But an important part then is once you're in, being able to guarantee your supply through managing your staff and your infrastructure and your manufacturing or service development process, co-design, but also then the challenge is how to scale up that zero to hero, how to carefully do your business planning and your project management to understand your costs, to work with your people, because if your staff or the people you're collaborating with understand the costs and the opportunity, then they can help you scale up in a profitable way, because we know that many entrepreneurs, when they try and get bigger and get more clients on, that's often when businesses fail. So the leadership and management and governance around that for small organisations and big ones is very, very important. And I'm sure that lots of your other classes and speakers will be talking about the profitability and the finance side rather than the leadership side. So there's a lot of opportunity. I could probably leave it there and just perhaps open it up for questions. But yes, I think that what I'm seeing with my students and my graduates and my industry are calling me at North Metro TAFE, the mining companies, the health providers, the surveyors, the creative industries even, the filmmakers, they're ringing me saying they need more people because they need new skills and they want enthusiastic, innovative, entrepreneurial people who will show leadership by collaborating with leaders at all levels and really enthusiastically doing their jobs or coming up with new ideas or businesses that can fill gaps where industry is growing. So it's a great time to be a graduate, I think. And I'll see if there's any questions, but I'd like to wish you all the very best in all of your careers. And I think there's great opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation. That was so incredible. There are so many insights we can highlight here, starting from the definition of leader and the qualities of good leaders, the importance of setting a mission for the business. And from my notes, I have like current environment are suited to the future entrepreneur, and digital environment are not available for free. Leadership is a fun stuff for young entrepreneur. And also you mentioned about the case about supply chain disruption, one of the new form of leadership that is sometimes very authoritative. Leader needs to be agile in new digital era and business environment. Also, one of the most interesting part that I note here is like the leadership culture about vision, value, collaboration, creativity, support, and motivation. Those are all really great. Thank you. So moving along to our next agenda is a Q&A sessions to all of the participants who would like to ask for questions to Ms. Michelle. You might type your questions into the chat box down below or open your microphone to directly ask for your questions. So to all participants, please. Berlanjut pada agenda selanjutnya yaitu sesi Q&A kepada hadirin peserta sekalian. Bagi yang ingin mengajukan pertanyaan kepada Bu Michelle, dimohon untuk mengaktifkan mikrofon dan menyampaikan pertanyaan secara langsung atau mengetik pada kolom chat box yang telah disediakan. Alright. Let's see what we have here for the questions. Alright, here comes the first question, Ms. Michelle. It's from Andro. His question is like, which supporting skills do you think are more important for a leader? Wow, it's interesting.
Supporting skills?
Yes, do you think are more important for a leader?
Yes, okay. If I've understood what you mean by that, I actually think that supporting skills are really incredibly important. I think that as a leader, there's two ways I can answer that question. One is you need to have a lot of supporting broad knowledge. You need to understand your structure, how your people work. You need to understand the government regulation environment. So you actually need to have a lot of kind of legal knowledge, I think, and in a general broad sense, so that you know what you can and can't do as a business, and you know what administration you need. But you also need to have knowledge of finances and knowledge of human resources, and you need to know your business. So if you might know one job when you first become a graduate, then you might move up and you'll know another job. But if you're going to keep moving up, you need to do two things. One, you need to know roughly how all the parts of the organisation fit together. You need to know who does what job, what finance does, what human resources does, who manages your infrastructure, and also what services you're delivering and what makes them valuable to the market. So you need to broaden your skills the higher up you get, your supporting skills as a leader. But you also need to not lose sight of understanding the operations of your organisation, because sometimes your decisions, you need to actually understand your business quite well. So as you get higher up the chain of leadership, you have to understand more things at this level without forgetting or losing sight of the things that are happening at an operational level, your core people who are actually serving your clients. And that's why collaborative leadership is so good. But you might have also meant supporting skills of your people. And I do think that that's critically important. Your staff and the people, the team that you work with need to feel valued. They need to feel that they can trust you. They need to feel that you'll listen to them. That doesn't mean you do what they say. As a leader, you make judgments, but you have to listen in order to make judgments. So, and I think you have to listen to make staff want to work hard for you. You have to understand what makes a good job. Like how does their good performance get rewarded? How do you motivate them? And how do you recognize what good performance looks like? And also, how do you address poor performance? So you have to support your staff to do that. And sometimes you have to support all the other leaders in your organisation to do that in the right way. Because if I'm working one job in an organisation, my experience as a person in that organisation is based on mostly my team around me and my boss. So it's not just based on the senior leadership at the top. So the senior leaders, if they want to create a culture, have to work with their managers at all levels to make sure that everyone's boss is creating the culture that motivates the best performance and that gets the most productivity for your organisation to create profit.
Okay. So if I might conclude from your assessment here, all of the skills are really important. So I highlighted we get to know the environment of our business and so the organizational management, just like the financial, the organization, also the operational and the other subjects of organizations, and also the members' characters. Those are really important. Okay. Let's go to the next questions. It's from Budi. How do you ensure your team delivers quality work within the specified time frame and budgets?
Great question. Great question. There's sometimes you might be doing one job or creating one product or service that and in that case, it's your project management skills. You need to do a business plan, use project management tools, create a budget, make sure that your human resources you need can be afforded by your budget, make sure whatever other things that you need to buy to deliver that service, that you actually map out your timeframes coming back from when the service delivery or product delivery point is. I'm sure these are all things that you've been learning in class. So that project planning and business planning and identifying the milestones of the project and the timelines and the budget and setting clear responsibilities to the people that are responsible, and then monitoring it, checking in, and if it's going off track, pulling it back on track by checking it. So that's project management to come in on time and budget on a one-off project. But you've also got some businesses are just every day delivering projects, not really a project, but daily service. Like I'm a TAFE college. I have 1,000 lecturers who are delivering courses every day to students. So I need to make sure that on an annual basis, that within the financial year, that my whole organisation comes in on budget. So I have to monitor. So I set budgets for every team. I've got 130 teams in my organisation. They each have their own budget. They each have their own set of staffing, organisational structure. As I said, the decision-making, the procedure and policy, which says who can spend what, is important for accountability. And we also set goals and monitor achievement of goals. And I have regular team meetings to check that that team is managing to their budget and to their goals and outcomes every quarter.
All right. So according to your explanation, I would say that how do we ensure our team delivers quality work within the specified time frame and budget? We can use the some collaboration tools such as business plan. That's what we did in this program, Ms. Michelle. Thank you for clarifying that. And also we use project management tools, mapping out the time frame, and so delegating the job. So yeah, all of these skills are required to as a leader of us, yeah, to establish our business and to run our startup. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get to the next questions. This is our third questions. Who do you look up to as an ideal leader and why?
Wow, great question. Oh, one of my most inspirational leaders is actually my first CEO. He was amazing, and he was the one, I think, who helped me understand visible leadership, setting a vision, and getting all of his people on board with that vision. And how do you be clear about your organisational goals and get all of your staff engaged? And he did that really well. And I think of him often when I'm ensuring that I am talking to my staff and being clear about what we're trying to achieve, what our budget is, and what our services and clients are doing and needing. He also, though, did run a very tight ship on finances, human resources, equipment, and timelines. So project management, he also did well. And having that check-in and being collaborative. I think at the start of my career when I worked for him was the first time I saw that more engaging approach of leaders taking all their staff on the journey as well as checking it. So he had that both, the culture and the structure. So I really learnt that from him. He's probably my most inspirational. Other than that, at the moment, I would say the Premier of Western Australia, because he has a vision for economic development in Western Australia. And he has said to TAFE colleges, we want more development in renewable energy, in metronet and rail infrastructure and the resources sector to keep going. We want more skills for health. So I know he's setting a vision of what he wants from me, and that means that I can make sure that that's what we're doing. And I understand my TAFE contribution to economic development in Western Australia, to the prosperity of industry and getting jobs for my graduates, including their own startups. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really makes sense. So yeah, this is such an inspirational figure of you guys. Yeah, I have also the figure that I really admire is like probably Simon Sinek, Miss Michelle. Yeah, I read a lot of his book. It's just like they start with why, either leader it lasts. Yeah, he knows a lot about leadership, and what I'm implementing to my life is basically from him as well. So
yeah,
right.
yeah. No, he is definitely amazing, and has a lot of information on the internet with advice and good thinking, good theories, and he explains them really well. So I agree, he's a very inspirational leader and a good one for leadership development topics.
Yeah, he really is, especially about the golden circle techniques that he explained. Wow, it's really amazing. Okay, probably we're going to get to the couple more questions here. We have the next questions. How can you present add value to the company? Seems like this is interesting questions.
Yes. Do you mean how does anybody ensure their presence adds value to the company?
For sure, it could be.
Okay. I actually think that one of the most important things that everyone in my organisation needs to do, and I think this applies to any organisation, whether it's resources, health or otherwise, I think that one of the most important things is to identify opportunities for improvement and to speak up, to escalate them. Because, as I say, it's no good to me as a leader if one of my amazing staff members sees a way we could be better and says nothing, or sees where we're going wrong with our clients and says nothing. So what I really value in my team members is that ability to care about our business success and to see opportunity and to suggest improvement. I want to hear that. I want to know that I can trust my staff members are going to do better in their jobs. Sometimes they don't have to ask permission. It might be within their area of responsibility and their scope of work. They can just do it. So if I see people who are delivering good services, then they are adding value to my organisation. They're meeting their timelines, their budgets, their KPIs, but also helping us grow better, then they're up for a promotion.
Oh, it sounds really interesting because like value about the ability to care, seek for opportunity is similar to the empathy about the leader is. Yeah, it's one of the points that Simon Sinek also explained.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay, getting to the next question is the fifth question. So how to choose quality human resources to build a better company where we are the leaders in the company?
How to use quality human resources? Well, yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, how to choose, yeah.
So I think one of the most important things, of course, is to recruit well. When you hire someone at all levels of leadership, you want to make sure that you're hiring someone with the right skills and a good attitude fit with your organisation. And that's interesting as a TAFE and polytechnics find that interesting with you students, because it's really important to us that we develop the technical skills that you need for a job, but we also need to develop the soft skills to make you a quality contributor to the organisation. So as a leader myself, I need to do the same thing. I need to recruit well, the technical skills and the soft skills, but I also need to continue to develop and invest in those. The rate of change in the world means that people need to update their technical skills all the time, but also they need to work well with others and to use good judgment, be respectful, and work collaboratively, and and to be entrepreneurial. So quality people make the difference between how successful your organisation is.
All right, that really makes sense, because it depends on how the context of our organization work, the way we hire people that our organization require a high level or low level skills. Also, you explained about the derivation between the technical and also the soft skill. Yeah, both are important to each one members that we are going to hire. I mean, all right. Let's go to the next question, and I think it might be the last questions. What was the hardest decision you have ever taken as a leader? What helped you to form the best course of actions? Wow. This is according to your experience.
That the hardest decisions as a leader is actually when you have to let people go. That's definitely the hardest. When it might be, if it's really poor performance, then that's very difficult. Even though, because obviously there's steps that you take to try and intervene and improve before you have to take a final step. But that's always a terrible thing to do. And you realise that people have lives and you don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to make these hard decisions. And sometimes it's one at a time, but sometimes you need to restructure your organisation because this part of your business is no longer required. And as a leader, you have to be honest and see that. You have to manage to a budget. So sometimes that's an important budget decision. And so that's really the hardest part of the job, is having to make decisions that affect negatively people's lives. But as a CEO, my job is to keep my organisation on budget and delivering good services. And if anything is detracting from that, then I have to make decisions and act to change things. Does that make sense?
All right, it really makes sense, because it's about how you show your empathy among your organization member or your customers. So it's like, it's really hard to create the decision how to let people, because nowadays, as we see for the most popular news, that the biggest digital company in America, it belongs to Elon Musk. He retired a lot of employees. I think it is an also example for hard decision to make. It's about taking care about other people and providing good services. Can
I say one more thing, which pertains to the previous question a little bit about quality people in your organisation?
For sure.
One of the things that might be useful for new graduates to think about is that often when we're starting our own careers, we think that we're going to apply for this job or apply for this job and that we're going to manage our own career. And that is true. We do apply for jobs and we do manage our own career. But in terms of your performance at work, your leaders are watching you. Your clients are watching you. Your networks are watching you. Often in your life, you'll get your next job before you've applied for it. Because the people that see you doing great work, you think it's invisible, but it's not. The people that see you great work, they think to themselves, soon this will be a good job for you and I'll promote you, or I'll suggest that you apply for this job. Or another company that you've been collaborating with sees how great you are and they say, maybe you'd like to come and work for us at a higher level. So don't underestimate in your careers how much your leaders and bosses are watching you, and they are also planning your career. Because for us to run a productive business, we want to get the best talent and we want to promote it, because that makes our lives easier as leaders and it makes our businesses perform more effectively. So don't underestimate how visible you are in the organisation, and the good work you do will be recognised.
That's really clear information. Thank you for your information. Okay. Due to the limited of time, the Q&A session is enough. Alright, dikarenakan waktu yang terbatas, sesi Q&A dapat dicukupkan. Finally, we are come to the last agenda. We would like to say thank you again for the presenter, Ms. Michelle Hood, and all of the audiences for actively participations in this morning's webinar sessions of leadership and development. Before we close the session, I will lead the documentation session to capture the best moment of us all with our great presenter here. So to all of the participants, please turn on your camera. Sebelum beranjak kepada penutupan acara selanjutnya akan diteruskan dengan dokumentasi foto bersama. Jadi dimohon bagi para hadirin, rekan-rekan peserta untuk dapat menyalakan kameranya dikarenakan kita akan melakukan sesi foto bersama yang akan saya pandu dalam hitungan ketiga. Wow.
Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Wow. They must be so excited to be a young entrepreneur, Miss. Baik, dalam hitungan ketiga akan saya mulai. On count of 3, I would say 1, 2, 3, cheers. All right. Heading to the next slide. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think that's enough. All right. Finally, we now have reached the end of the session. Thank you very much again for all of your participation in joining us today for this webinar session of leadership development topic by Ms. Michelle Hood. We really appreciate you for being here. Tak terasa telah sampai kita di penghujung acara, oleh karena itu mari bersama-sama kita menutup acara pada pagi hari ini dengan berdoa bersama supaya ilmu yang kita dapatkan dari pemateri pada pagi hari ini dapat bermanfaat bagi kita semua. Berdoa menurut percaya masing-masing, berdoa dipersilahkan. Baik, berdoa dapat dicukupkan. Kami segenap panitia pada program sosialisasi Wirausaha Merdeka 2022 pada pagi hari ini mengucapkan terima kasih sebanyak-banyaknya kepada pemateri serta para hadirin sekalian peserta workshop Leadership Development yang telah meluangkan waktunya pada pagi hari ini untuk sharing bersama pada program workshop Wirausaha Merdeka 2022 yang diselenggarakan oleh Politeknik Perkapalan Negeri Surabaya. Akhir kata, saya Muhammad Rabi selaku MC dan juga moderator pada acara pagi hari ini mohon undur diri. Mohon maaf apabila selama berlangsungnya rangkaian acara terdapat kesalahan dan kekurangan kata yang tidak berkenan bagi hadirin sekalian. Semoga kita dapat bertemu di lain waktu. Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa pada kesempatan berikutnya. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Michelle.